So now that we've characterized the benefit of using inputs in the production process, it yields output according to our isoquant, we want to turn our attention to the cost of inputs and then eventually compare the two in order to understand a firm's choice of how much of each input to use in the production process. So we're going to characterize now the isocost curve, which describes the relative cost of our inputs, labor and capital. And to do that, we need to define the price of labor and capital. The price of labor we call the wage, and the price of capital we call rent. So we've got wage times labor plus rent times capital, and we sum them together to get our total cost of production. So this is analogous to the budget constraint in consumer choice. We want to think now about total cost of production as a function of prices of each input. So let's do an example. We have here our total cost equals 100 and wage and rent is equal to 10 and 20. So total cost equals 100 and we'll set that equal to 10 times the amount of labor that we purchase plus 20 times the amount of capital we purchase. Now that total cost of 100 is a bit arbitrary, but we'll talk about how this works within our cost minimization structure after we define our isocost curve. So then our formula for isocost curve will be, we want to solve for capital here, capital is equal to 5 minus 1/2 times labor. That describes the equation for this isocost curve here. Another way to think about plotting this equation is to determine the intercepts where you spend all of your money on capital or all of your money on labor. So spending all $100 on capital would give me 5 units of capital. Spending all $100 on labor would give me 10 units of labor. And obviously we can also purchase some combination of labor and capital between those 2 points, and that would also give us a total cost of 100. All right, so what does the slope of the isocost curve mean? The slope of the isocost curve in this case is -1/2. It's the ratio of the price of labor and the price of capital. So it tells me how expensive labor is relative, to capital. So again, that's going to be the ratio of the wage to the rent. And we can look at the comparative statics of our isocost curve just the exact same way that we did for the budget constraint in the consumer choice problem. We could have an increase in total cost, total spending on our inputs, which would shift our isocost curve out. We could have a decrease or increase in the price of one of our inputs. So here we have a decrease in the price of the wage, which would lead to the ability to purchase more labor, but of course the same amount of capital. Or if we had an increase in the rent, we would be able to buy less capital, but the same amount of labor as before. Great, so now that we've characterized our isocost curve, we're going to move on to cost minimization in the next video.